It's a sunny day at Spa as McLaren Trophy Europe gets set for a second race of the weekend, and it was a really dramatic race yesterday, meaning that there's a lot to look forward to now as the cars make their way out onto the circuit, onto the grid for the second event on a fabulous circuit. Perfect weather conditions for the drivers. It is an opportunity around here for these cars to really stretch their legs. And after yesterday's win for Josh Mason and Sam Neser, well, let's see what today's race brings. It was one full of interest yesterday with some good battling, some surprises along the way as well, and with the grid formed ready to go. Track temperature already up to 28.6 degrees. This is the kind of weather that we had on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, rather wet and squally here, but back to nice sunny conditions, at least for now. David Addison and Tommy Erdos are trackside, looking forward to a really good race. And again, as ever, Tommy, there's quite a lot to sort of catch up on, really, in terms of dramas of yesterday and also push to pass and pit stops and compensation time in the pits. So where do we start?
Well, let's start with what happened lap one of the race yesterday. Obviously, an incident between cars 17 and 12. Unfortunately, 17, Jaden Kelly and Michael O'Brien didn't get to race at all, apart from, again, the sprint to turn one. Yeah. Happy to say that the car is all fixed, ready to go. Of course, they'll start at the back of the grid, so there'll be plenty of overtaking for Michael O'Brien to do today. Yeah,
he's going to be the start driver, isn't he, in the car? Pole position then, going the way of number 48, which is Robin Knutsen, new to the championship, coming into it this weekend. Yesterday's winning car lining up alongside with Sam Neser at the wheel. Then you've got Leo Caravasili, whose car led yesterday, although Caravasili, when he took over from Sam Harrison, strangely fell back in the pack a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit surprising there, the pace on Caravasili. He's shown over the last couple of meetings a fantastic pace. Nevertheless, that car really went very well yesterday, and yeah, we'll see some sparks from the number 90 ALM Motorsport car. ALM doing extremely well since they've joined the championship beginning of this year. So yeah, lots to look forward to with that car. So yeah, looking forward to this race. Really nice weather.
Now, there is the grid. Sam Harrison was a star yesterday, leading in his stint, starting third on the grid. He'll do the second stint. Alex Legui is on the grid and with Sam.
Sam, Spa is proving to be a rather good place for you. You're starting here, second row, third row of the grid. How good are your starts?
I mean, it went well for us yesterday, so hopefully we can replicate it again. So yeah, T1 we saw yesterday is a bit of a pinch point if you get it in the wrong place, so we're just hoping to keep it safe through turn one and then go from there.
Weather seems to be on your side right now. You guys fare well in dry weather, or would you like it to mix up a little bit?
I mean, we've had plenty of practice now this weekend in the wet, so I think whatever it throws at us, we're ready.
Good. All right, powers on for another good race.
Thank you.
So Sam Harrison will do the second stint today. Now, we'll come to the compensation times in due course, once we've heard from a few more people on the grid maybe. But if you're in the top three, you carry extra time into the race. And there's the mandatory pit stop, of course, coming into the race itself anyway. Three classes, Pro, Pro-Am and Am. And there you can see the field all lined up. Everybody with the same base car these days, and there's a mandatory time as well that you have to serve within the pits. You've got 300 seconds worth of extra power from a push to pass facility. A pit stop lasts 72 seconds, and another man to watch is going to be Zach Meakin. Harry Burgoyne starts his car fourth on the grid. Let's join Alex.
Useful. Zach, you're starting P4 on the grid. When we spoke a minute ago, you said, I was hoping it was going to rain. You need to do a stronger rain dance.
Yeah, my rain dance didn't pay off. It only lasted for Friday and the beginning of Saturday. But yeah, it'll be nice and sunny, so we're decently quick enough in the dry, so just got to get at them.
You've got a lot of very strong people around you. What do you feel like you can do? Is this full attack, or do you play it safe?
Well, obviously it's always full attack. I reckon we could do quite good. There's a little bit of the pit stop times with the people that won the race before, so that will help us a little bit. But I believe Harry has had a few more laps now with qualifying, so he'll be definitely up there. Hopefully battling with these guys, and I reckon he can get a few of them.
Powers on.
So there, Zach Meakin, who is also in the GT4 European Series races. Late call to do those, so he's a busy driver this weekend. Countdown continuing here, the grid starting to be cleared for all of the VIPs and team members, and then we look forward to this 50-minute race. Now, pit window is not a moving target as such, but it differs across each race.
It does, and obviously across the classes as well. So we have, as you mentioned, 3 different classes: Pro, Pro-Am, and Am. Between 10 and 20 minutes will be the pit window for the Pro-Am, and 20 to 30 for the Pro and the M class.
Let's go back down to the grid. Ian James, the director of McLaren Motorsport, is there with Alex.
Ian, here we are. Crucial point mid-season of the championship, and what a championship year this is turning out to be.
I know, it's fantastic. Look, the sun's come out. It's great to see so many cars on the grid today, and if the racing yesterday was anything to go by, we've got a real treat on our hands.
This is quite a field that you've got, isn't it? We've got some incredible pedallers.
Yeah, it's going up and up. And so not only the number of the cars, but the quality of the teams, the quality of the drivers that are coming in as well is moving very much in the right direction, which is fantastic. So it bodes well for the future. And the car itself, I think, is going from strength to strength. We had an amazing weekend on the Nordschleife last weekend with actually the McLaren Trophy Evo winning its first ever 24-hour race straight out of the box, which is phenomenal. So it just goes to show the potential, and I know the drivers here are going to love it as well. Yeah,
congratulations for that, and hopefully for another successful weekend. What does it mean for McLaren, the brand?
This is everything. I think motorsport's part of our DNA. We've been involved in motorsport for 61 years. Now, of course, you know, you've got the pinnacle in Formula One, we've got Formula E, we've got IndyCar, we're coming into hypercar, but ultimately this is the racing that really showcases what we can do with our road cars as well, and it sort of forges the link between the racetrack and the road as well. So for me, this is where it's at. As I say, it's part of our DNA, and it's a real privilege to be here in Spa.
And not only that, we have the 24-hour race, and Garage 59 have done rather well, haven't they?
I know. I was sitting actually with Stefan Rattel from SRO yesterday when Marvin put it on pole, and I was having a bit of a moan with him about BOP in the process, and that completely took the wind out of my sails. So no, it's phenomenal to see Marvin doing so well. I think Garage 59 along with our other teams here are doing a great job as well, so I can't wait to get the race started.
Yeah, they're a solid setup and a solid pairing, aren't they? What would it mean to you guys then if you end up on the top step?
Everything. It really would. To win here, you know, this is one of the events that you come to. I'd say it's a blue ribbon event for us. So we're going to give it our all. There's no doubt about that, and let's see what we can do.
Good. Let's go racing. Thank you.
McLaren has won the Le Mans 24 hours. Can it win the Spa 24 hours? Well, just after 4:30 tomorrow, we will know the answer as Ian James then strides to the front of the grid. There's the McLaren Hospitality Building, otherwise known as Tom Riodos's office, and a very nice collection of McLaren road cars parked outside for the fans to drool over.
Beautiful cars outside there. Yeah, good selection of some of the 750S, and yeah, fantastic cars. They are really cars to be driven on track. Yeah, awesome to see that. And great grid today again. We're back to a full 18 cars, I believe, with the 2 cars that were out yesterday, fully repaired and ready to go.
Now, yesterday you touched on Jaden Kelly being turned around at the first corner. With your driving standards advisor hat on, any repercussions?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. I think the move that Will put on Jaden was rather late, to be honest.
And, Will Aspin.
Will Aspin, yeah. Will Aspin was in the wheel of number 12 SMC car. He saw a gap, but it wasn't a gap that's going to be there. It was an ever-closing gap, sure. Lap 1, turn 1. I think he should have been a little bit more careful. I think he realizes that now. You know, he's a great guy, great driver, and a good sportsman. There was no malice whatsoever, just a misjudgment, and so he incurred a penalty for the grid today.
Okay, so a grid drop therefore. So we have then the 1-minute board being shown, engines fire up. Another busy morning of action here at the Crown Strike 24 Hours of Spa. McLaren's on track again in the minutes after this race when GT4 European Series takes the circuit, and McLaren's showing well yesterday in that, and of course, as you've just been hearing, McLaren on pole position for the 24 Hours of Spa itself. So could be a good day for McLaren's all round. All right, where do we need to be looking at the start of the race? It's got to be Michael O'Brien, hasn't it, from the back row of the grid, carving his way up the order.
100%. Michael O'Brien is definitely the kid to watch today. Not so much of a kid, he's one of the older guys here, but he's still young, certainly in my perspective. But yeah, lots of really good drivers. Well, they're all very good drivers, but very fast drivers at the back of the grid. So there'll be some good battling going on in lap 1.
There, the run to La Source. Countdown from that final minute ticks through. Trevor Williams, the race director, very experienced British race official, gives the instruction now for the green light, the green flag. And again, to make the point, it's a standing start for McLaren Trophy. Yeah,
it's different from, I can't really think of a series that has a standing start of these kind of cars. GT, very powerful, and we're talking 620 horsepower, once you activate the push to pass button, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But yes, so it's a standing still start, very hot conditions. Those rear tires will grip up on the tarmac. You need to have the right amount of revs to pull away correctly. And and Samuel Harrison yesterday gave us a really good example of how to do it. And still haven't got to the end of why Jaden Kelly had such a bad start yesterday, and his push to pass button wasn't activated. So perhaps something to follow up a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll see whether Michael O'Brien makes as good a start as he needs to. Let's look at the grid then. Robin Knutson, first time out in the championship, and he finds himself on pole position with Sam Neser lining up second. Leo Caravasili is going to start from third, and Harry Burgoyne in fourth in one of those two Gulf-delivered SMC cars. Lucas Sundal fifth. He was the fastest man in the race yesterday, got the best lap. Kevin Rawshide starting next. Then Chris Hall, former champion of Brands driver many moons ago, the Brit based in the States now. Tom Holland is going to go from 8th on the grid. 9th is where you will find Oliver Webb, starting there in the red car, just going through shot. A long way back, 10th, Alejandro Gapet. Then you've got Maurice Henry and Charles Voltzmann making a welcome return to the series as well. Tim Docker is going to be next on the grid. Then Bradley Ellis going first in the car of Klaus Halsig. Behind him is going to be John Lancaster. Michael O'Brien starts 16th on the grid. And at the very back, Danny Henry, who was also involved in an accident yesterday. Danny Henry turned through La Source, found a stationary car, and it was a really hard hit. And okay, there was certainly damage down to the Kelly O'Brien entry, but that one of Danny Henry's, you can see the front doesn't match the rest of it. They had to sort of beg, borrow parts here. It was a really big impact for him.
It was, and a big shout out there for DTO Motorsport, and fantastic job. There was a lot of damage in that car, and they've got the car out. So great job there by the whole team. And yeah, Dan, it was really nothing Danny could have done. I watched the onboard video of that incident, and the car just appeared in front of him. It was just one of those that Danny was just a sitting duck. But yeah, glad to see the car back out, and Danny will give us a good show, I'm sure.
And it's good that he's out as well. I mean, I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but he's not the youngest guy on the grid. It was quite a scary moment. It was quite a big impact. He will have felt that through his body. It could have been tempting to say, yeah, do you know what? I might just sit out tomorrow and feel a bit better in a couple of weeks' time. But no, he's there. He's behind the wheel and will be a man to watch because we know he's quick.
He is, absolutely. He's a great competitor. He's, as we know, he's a solo AM entry, so he doesn't like to share his car. He does all the driving himself. But, you know, true sort of McLaren guy. He came through the pure McLaren program, and he's been on the grid, I think, at every race of the 3 seasons. And so he's a great competitor. It's always exciting to watch, and from the back of the grid, it'll be good.
A stalwart. So the cars here making the run into the chicane. The leading car dives out of harm's way. That means that the pack can now make its way up to the grid. So for a first-timer, Robin Knutson has looked really impressive this weekend, and he will bring the cars to pole position.
Fantastic performance by this young lad. He's only 23 years old. I think he cut his experience through Porsche Cup, Carrera Cup racing, and very quick. I think he won the series in Scandinavia. He may have actually won the supporting race at Le Mans, if I'm correct, in Porsche Carrera Cup, but okay. Very fast yesterday.
Absolutely, and he's only going to get faster with more experience of the car and indeed of the circuit. There, a long way back, Alejandro Gapet. Now, this is the reigning champion, so you kind of expected him to be up at the pointy end, but it didn't really click in the qualifying session yesterday.
No, they had a few issues, technical issues. I think one of them was a fuel pump and things, so the car hasn't been completely 100%, so no reflection there on Romero. He's a very quick guy, so we'll hopefully see him move up the grid.
And Danny Henry in the repaired car. Great job by DTO overnight to make that McLaren shaped again. He slots into place at the back of the grid. Pro-Am and Am. We'll touch on pit stop times when we get towards that pit window, which in the case of Pro-Am cars is after 10 minutes. The green flag is shown at the back. The lights are red. It is race 2 of McLaren Trophy Europe. It is go. And as they blast away, the lights flash at the front to say that the drivers are using the push to pass, and it works for Sam Neser, who jumps into the race lead down towards La Source. On the outside line is Sam Harrison to go second. Robin Knutson drops to third. Are they all safely around La Source this time? Yes, although there's a bit of elbows out from 1 or 2. Largely, I think, Alejandro Gapet in the background. But good start by Sam Neser. He leads as they drop downhill for the first time in towards Eau Rouge. Then the climb up the other side through Radion. Neser leading. Good start by Sam Harrison then to get into, by Leo Caravasili rather, to get into second place. Being squeezed out wide there was Gapet. He's recovered it. And look at this, on the grass, trying to gain ground on the way up the hill. That was really brave stuff indeed. Lower down the order, that I think possibly John Lancaster on his toes, using every bit of available real estate.
Fantastic start there by Neser, a young, very young lad there. I'm not even sure he's 18 yet, 17 years old, with a lot of experienced people around him. He just, you know, staking his ground there and actually opening up a bit of a lead already in lap 1.
From Robin Knutsen in second place. Then you've got Leo Caravasili in third as the cars come towards us then. So Ollie Webb, 22, looks to the inside line there to get past Harry Burgoyne. Can't do it at Speaker's Corner, but applies the pressure. So Sam Neser leading as they come down towards Pouen. Then for the first time of asking, with the battle on for second place between Robin Knutsen and Leo Caravasili. Lucas Sundal is fourth, and there is the recovering Alejandro Capet. Then he got himself up now ahead of Chris Hall as they go through. So he's trying to rebuild the race a little bit now. There in the background, you can see the effort being made on the inside line by 42 of Charles Voltzmann, and he goes by, picks up the place. The other Gulf car, Harry Burgoyne, going wide and kicking dirt into the face, therefore, of Ollie Webb. Leaders almost together here. Robin Knutsen may not have made the best of starts, but as on that push to pass to try to pull away Sam Neser, Knutsen is going after the leader, no question.
Neser with a nice lead there into Eau Rouge at the start of the lap, but now you can see Knutsen closing up ever so slowly, but you know, very close to Neser there. And there's someone going wide just behind Knutsen, that's Caravasili, the number 90 ALM car.
There he is. So Leo Caravasili goes really wide at Blanchimont, and he's being caught by Lucas Sundal. Don't forget the man that got the fastest lap of the race yesterday. What progress of Michael O'Brien then. He's the other man to watch in all of this. Well, he's up to 10th already out of the 17, so not a bad first lap, eh? Into La Source then. The leading quartet, I would suggest, all concertinaing now as they turn their way into the hairpin. So Michael O'Brien, 10th at the end of the opening lap in number 17, the grey car, run by Greystone, and still pushing on as Sam Neser for Greystone leads down towards Eau Rouge for the second time of asking. And if you're in the Pro-Am category, 10 to 20 minutes is the window. So the available time to the pros in a Pro-Am car is really limited.
It is, but of course the pros starting the race, so they will push that window up to the 20 mark, I'm sure. There, Sam Neser still using the push-to-pass button, as you can see with the daylight, front daylight lights flashing means they're using the push-to-pass button. Very close into Lecombe there with Michael O'Brien making another position there. Really good start by Michael O'Brien.
Indeed so. That was the car of Tom Holland, number 40, that got roughed up, and he's lost out to Bradley Ellis as well. Tom Holland sharing with Nick Halstead in Pro-Am, double winners at Brands Hatchback at the start of the season, rather less fortunate at Monza. But right now, Tom Holland trying to regroup and fight back as the cars drop downhill again through Speaker's Corner. So that's going to put Tom Holland now in jeopardy against Alejandro Capet, and look for third place. Lucas Sundal right on the back of Leo Caravasili as the field streams through on this second lap of 50 minutes of racing. Capet struggling to make progress as we have a replay of the start as the cars come down through Eau Rouge. Sam Neser already a few lengths clear. And there, look, up the curve, elbows out. That's what forced Capet wide. That was Bradley Ellis. And have a look behind, you've got John Lancaster trying to go around the outside of Michael O'Brien, and he keeps on coming and he keeps on coming. Four wheels on the dirt, foot still nailed to the boards. That's brave.
It's brave, but actually I think O'Brien got the position back, otherwise he would have probably had to give that back. I can see Rob Bell there watching the action and enjoying it, I guess.
Panicking, yeah. Rob would never drive like that, would he?
Never. No,
perish the thought. Former Blancpain Endurance Series champion Rob Bell, now part of the sporting management at McLaren. Right, these are the leaders, and now Robin Knutsen, having done the fastest lap of the race last time around, looks a little bit more threatening. Alejandro Capet also now getting himself up past Tom Holland. So Capet, bit of a slow burn in this race. He tries to fight back as the cars come into the hairpin. But it does make you wonder, doesn't it, why Capet is not making the same O'Brien-like progress, suggesting there is a problem.
Yes, they have lacked a little bit of pace this weekend for some reason, and he doesn't seem to be really making room there. Ellis and O'Brien got through him, and you thought he would come along with them, towards the front, but that's not happening.
Right, there is Sam Neser in this rather elasticated gap, because it was only 2/10 when they came across the line, but it looks like he's pulled away again, heading here uphill. In third place, you can see what's going on, and it's Leo Caravasoli now trying to defend from Lucas Sundal. Small gap back to Harry Burgoyne in fifth, Ollie Webb in sixth. They've sort of paired off, haven't they, right now? Sundal in the Alfab car, all over the back of Caravasoli. There in second spot is Knudsen, but it's still Sam Neser leading the way. And look how defensive Caravasoli goes here. To the outside line, Sundal outside for Bruxelles. That's going to be the inside for the next part of the racetrack if he can stand his ground as they come downhill. And the road does come to Lucas Sundal, and he's got the job done. Caravasoli tries to brave it out on the outside line, but eventually he just has to give up the unequal struggle. So Lucas Sundal goes third, and while they've been squabbling, Harry Burgoyne behind in the first of the Gulf liveried cars, he's joined the party. He's much closer to them.
Yeah, as we expected, a great battle there with the pros around each other. Nothing between them, really. The two cars, the Alfab and the ALM Motorsport car of Caravasoli with the push-to-pass button activated on the Sprinter was put on. Very close indeed. And look at the battle for the lead now.
Yeah, Carrera Cup graduate Robin Knudsen right there now on the tail of the race leader, Sam Neser, as the cars again come out of the right-hander of Campus into the Spa-Francorchamps and back onto the power. Look, Sundal, having cleared Caravasoli, just disappears, doesn't he? Sort of waves him goodbye and then sets off in pursuit of his fellow Scandinavian Robin Knudsen for second place. Ollie Webb is on the back of Harry Burgoyne. This for the race lead, and all of a sudden Sam Neser's tenure of office there is starting to look a little bit limited. Knudsen much, much closer into the braking zone they come then. And deep goes Knudsen, just avoids contact. That was really close. Good racing, good hard racing between the pair.
Great racing, great driving by both of them. And Knudsen there really putting the pressure on, but just at the last moment had to back off. He's using a lot of his push to pass to try and get through Neser. Neser is doing a great job. Again, a young lad there, just holding back such a more experienced driver behind him. Now he's using the push to pass bus, so you can see the lights flashing or coming up to Rouge, and he's clever doing that because he needs to come up to Camel Straight with good speed and keep the second place car behind him.
This is kind of our unofficial DRS zone, isn't it? Because if you get close enough, there's a slipstream and you've got the push to pass. That is what Robin Knudsen is doing. So having been a real star of Carrera Cup Scandinavia, he is on the back of Sam Neser. 2 years ago, Fiesta Junior champion in the UK. Knudsen pulls out, has a look and pulls back in again. And while they're squabbling, Lucas Sundal is getting a little bit nearer. Sundal with a clear racetrack ahead of him this time, edging ever nearer. Quick look at some of the AMs a little bit further back. There, going uphill, Kevin Rorsheid. Behind him, there is Chris Hall. If you've got a long memory, you might remember Chris from Champion of Brands Formula Ford in a J-Man a long, long time ago. He's based in the States these days. And a big, big drama for the O'Brien car. Michael O'Brien loses it at Bruxelles. He drops a wheel into the gravel, but he should be able to dig himself out of that if he gives it a boot full of revs. And away he goes, but Michael O'Brien, write it down. Rare error made, exclusive.
I'm beginning to think you have a radio communication with this car, because just as you said that, he did exactly what you told him to do. Great to see the car back on track. I mean, that was a real heart-stopping moment there for the Greystone car.
So let's have a look at how he got there. Oh, on the grass, that's Maurice Henry not giving him any room at all. And Michael O'Brien spins across the road. At this point, we cross live to our driving standards advisor, Tommy Erdos.
Reserve judgment until I see the full
oh, you
picture.
coward.
I need to see more angles on that one, but yeah, it looks like he was on the grass. Whether he was put on the grass there earlier on, we need to find out later. And no doubt, yeah, I'll be busy after the race.
Absolutely. Michael O'Brien's going to be busy as well with a trip to the laundrette. That was quite a moment coming into Bruxelles. But he's back in the race, so it's a bit snakes and ladders. He sort of hauled his way up, then he slides down, and he's got to do it all over again. As Knudsen comes up to have a go at Neser for the race lead, he's going to try the outside line. He goes deep. A little bit of elbows out between the two. This time they do rub. But in fairness, Knudsen didn't force the issue. Sam Neser came out ahead. So even if they did rub, it didn't give him an advantage.
That was, again, absolutely fantastic racing. Yes, there was a bit of contact there, but Sam Neser knew that he was going to try that because he did the lap before. So he closed the gap, and it was an inevitable touch there. But again, both drivers doing fantastic job at the moment.
Don't forget, Robin Knudsen's in his first weekend in the championship. Lucas Sundal was driving with Mikael Karlsson at the start of the season. Sundal has switched to the Erich Behrens Alfab car. Knudsen drafted in. pretty shrewd move, I would say, on the part of the team. So the ALM Motorsports squad with new drivers, and here they come. Nose to tail for the race lead. We've got 40 minutes to go. It's been a busy first 10 minutes as now Knutsen dives to the outside line. Behind them is Lukas Sundahl closing as around the outside for the race lead goes Robin Knutsen. Beautifully done. New race leader sideways as the power comes in, but Robin Knutsen goes around the outside of Sam Neser. That is great driving.
Yeah, I think Neser fought there as hard as he could until the end, but I think, again, this is, for me, how mature this young kid is, and he's not fighting to the end and have an accident. He actually knows when enough is enough and save the car to the end. He's not fighting Knutsen for the championship. You know, they need good, strong points with this race as well.
But to go around the outside of Les Combes and not abuse the track limit and not make contact,
Great skill.
Every box ticked.
Great skill.
Yeah, quite so. Right, Michael O'Brien in the meantime, quick update. He fell back to 13th place, so now it gets harder for him to regroup, doesn't it? Because the gaps are opening up as the race wears on.
Yeah, it's not playing out very nicely for number 17 this weekend at this point, but you know, there's a lot of racing to go, so they can still react. They have two very fast drivers in that car, plenty of racing to go.
Good for the championship, good for us, mind you, because what we're looking as though they perhaps were runaway victors for the, not just races, but championship early season, now rather different. Now there is Maurice Henry, who was involved in that Speedworks car in the drama, rather sideways, Alejandro Gapet, one car but one further back there, coming into campus. So certainly Maurice Henry ahead of O'Brien was trying to hang on to his track position and defended. O'Brien will argue that he got squeezed onto the grass, but he kept on coming, kept his foot in, and then eventually it seemed as though the car lost traction. There is Henry ahead then of the car of Bradley Ellis, then Alejandro Gapet, John Lancaster in 10th spot, coming up to the chicane now.
Fantastic to see Maurice there in the top 7. Yeah, he's in P7, a car that shares with Fiona, both Ginette junior graduates, if you will, and so yes, very, very great to see that car of Fiona and Maurice doing so well today.
Yeah, Maurice Henry comes across the line in the white and yellow colours of the Valero Racewear company, which is Fiona James' business. A big enthusiast of GT style racing is Fiona. She tends to be desperately unlucky, but right now that car is going well, subject to anything that might be lurking in the system post-race after the incident that the car had with Michael O'Brien, a winner for McLaren in the British GT Championship in both GT3 and GT4 machinery of seasons past. The car's climbed the hill then. So we are currently working lap number 6, 37 minutes and change on the clock. Robin Knutsen here is the race leader. Look at the gap for second. That's come right down, hasn't it? With the car in the hands of Lukas Sundahl, the black car getting ever closer now to Sam Neser. Maurice Henry is under attack as they come into Les Combes, because there Bradley Ellis and Alejandro Gapet right up behind him. This will be a tough task for Maurice Henry, because he's nowhere near as experienced as Bradley Ellis, who is crawling all over the back of him and taps him into a spin. Got a bit too close out of Les Combes, and Maurice Henry ends up on the same bit of grass that Michael O'Brien was on a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, again, that's a tough one. There was contact for sure. We're going to have a look at that. It's such a shame. I was just saying how nice to see Maurice and Fiona in the car number 49 are doing so well. Yeah, we'll have to have a look at that again. It was really inevitable with the pace that Ellis has that at some point there was going to be a move.
So let's have another look. Here's Bradley Ellis then, and he's quick, we know that. He comes out of the corner, he goes for the inside line. Certainly wasn't deliberate.
No, hardly ever. It is deliberate, but it was a misjudgment there. Whether there was a sudden slowdown from Maurice for whatever reason, and that obviously caught Bradley Ellis out, and but we'll have to obviously have a good look at that later.
Yeah, you've got access to the onboards, haven't you, when you have a look for judicial purposes. This is for second place. Round the outside of Sam Neser now storms Lukas Sundahl, and Sundahl absolutely on the limit, over the curve. He's on the inside line. He's using that push to pass. He's almost level into the braking zone. He's got the inside line for part 1 of the chicane, and he's got the job done. Nice pass.
Yeah, nice pass. Very much on the limit there, track limits. I reserve judgment on that, but he definitely got through. And again, Sam Neser being mature enough to know when to heed and when to fight. So these guys need to now look after these cars a little bit for the end and second stint. They've been using a lot of push to pass, and you really need to wait to the end. Yeah, that's what happened there. So Neser went very wide coming out of Stavola 2 and lost a lot of momentum coming up to Blanchimont.
So we've now got Scandinavian drivers first and second, and they're split by just over 4 seconds. Sam Neser now is trying to regroup but the pit window has opened, and now you can see the order. It is Robin Knutsen out on his own up front. And that is a car that doesn't have to serve any extra time in the pits as well. There in second place then is Lucas Sundal. Third, yesterday's winners, Sam Neser, Josh Mason to take over. Fourth is now Leo Caravasili. In fifth place, Harry Burgoyne. In sixth is Ollie Webb. Up to seventh now, Alejandro Gapet. Eighth, it is Ellis. Ninth is John Lancaster. And 10th, 42, the white and blue and red car of the Dutch driver Charles Zoltzman. And that's Danny Henry in the gravel. He's had a big moment. Look at the witness marks on the road there on that strip of tarmac. It is down at the Cours Paul Frere. He just runs it wide through the gravel and around it goes, and he can't save it from there.
I doubt that car is going to go anywhere, David. I think the difference there with Michael O'Brien, he was right at the edge of the gravel, but that one seems beached.
And it could even be that's a safety car to get it out of the way. I think we have gone safety car because everyone seems to have slowed right down. I thought I saw a flashing board a moment ago. So the race will have to be neutralised to get that car out of the way. And the field, there it is, safety car on track, turning up now through the run to Port, right into the pit lane has come 33. So the first of the regulation stops, that's for Chris Hall to hand over to Bill Fenech, new driver to Spa, and to the American Championship, because it's just worth making the point. McLaren Trophy has expanded into America this season with great success.
Yes, very much so. They've done, I think, 2 or 3 rounds, can't remember now, but about 3 rounds gone and an absolute success. So the Americans love it. It's a great market for McLaren, obviously, in the US. And of course, they actually, the difference there is they actually have rolling starts, opposed to standing start here in Europe. But fantastic turnout there. The grids are really getting bigger and bigger, and really looking forward to America for the second half of the season.
Now, we have these different pit windows to really put the emphasis of the drive time on the AM. So if you are in the Pro AM class, the window is 10 to 20 minutes. If you are in Pro, where it matters perhaps less because it's 2 Pro drivers, it's between 20 and 30. And in the AM class, the same. And in the AM category, the majority are solo drivers anyway. Into the pit lane then now comes Lucas Sundal, Ollie Webb, Bradley Ellis, John Lancaster, Charles Voltzman, Maurice Henry. So this is the time when the quicker driver gives way to the customer, if you like, to the AM, and the order is going to be shuffled accordingly.
Yes, ideally you would want to wait the extra 2 minutes, whatever it is, for the 20-minute maximum. But of course, with the safety car out, absolutely the right call. As you can see, all the Pro-Am, pretty much all the Pro-Am entries have gone in the pits.
Yeah, the one that has stayed out for the moment, and it's a car that we keep touching on because it is of relevance in all of this, is the Pro car of Michael O'Brien, so that can get away because it's a later pit window. And what this also means is he's going to be shuffled up the pack. But the danger is that his pit stop is under green, whereas this is under a yellow period, and therefore, in real terms, he'll lose a lot more time.
Precisely. So the Pro-Ams have an advantage right now, being in the pits, obviously, during the safety car. Yeah. Again, that car there of Danny Henry definitely not going anywhere soon.
No, indeed so. And the safety car, as you see, on track, neutralising the race, and they're walking away. Job done. Driver handing over. So we've got still 31 minutes of a lively race to go, and there is the Alfab car, Eric Behrens, at the wheel of it. Ollie Webb has given way to Ryan James, and Lucas Sundal, crash helmet off. Another excellent job done. Fastest lap at the moment, claimed by Robin Knutsen, who is in the lead of the race with Sam Neser, Leo Caravasili, Harry Burgoyne, Alejandro Gapet behind. So blast off, down the pit lane they go. And the field shuffled accordingly like this. The safety car during a pit window often is a nightmare for race control. Some championships close the pit stops, close the pit window or delay it, but here it has remained open, and that means there's going to be a little bit of shuffling, but only out of one portion of the field, really.
Yes, and as you could see there on the screen, a very long pit lane. Here at Spa, you have to go through both the Grand Prix pit lane and the endurance pit lane. It's 72 seconds of 50 kilometers per hour. It is an eternity. It's just as a race driver, you know, you're racing at one of the fastest tracks in the world, and to do 50 kilometers an hour for 72 seconds, it's painful.
When you've been flat out on a circuit like that, to then drive so slowly for so long must be quite a strange feeling, really.
Yeah, it is. It's if you suffer from anxiety, that's not a good thing to be doing at 72 seconds, 50 clicks. So yeah, not it's the same for everyone. You have to do it. But yeah, very impressed by I have to say Knudsen's performance. Incredible in qualifying. He was a second clear everybody else. I think that was the second gap was probably something to do with some of the yellow flags that were going on in qualifying. But even so, his pace is amazing. By the way, is it Knudsen or is it Knudsen? That's a question there for the public.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, well, English is my second language, so I don't say I don't know. I say I don't know. So I've been calling him Knudsen, not Knudsen. But I'll take your lead on that.
I'm not saying I'm right. I think it's Knudsen, but we'll await confirmation. This is where somebody from Sweden barges through the door and corrects us. But if it's not Knudsen, we've been wrong all weekend. We may as well carry on being wrong. Apologies, Robin. But we are deeply impressed by the pace. However, he is deeply unimpressed by that safety car because any gap that he'd got has disappeared now.
That's it, yeah. But, to be honest, he does, him and Neser, Sam Neser on 22.7 as best lap. So the only two guys in the 22s. Very impressive, from both of them. But I keep coming back to Sam Neser, only 17 years old. And he held up that lead on the first few laps with a huge experience, field of hugely experienced drivers behind him. He fought hard when he needed to. He let go when he had to and kept the car safe. He's driving for a championship, and it's great to see the number 43 car there challenging the Michael O'Brien and Jaden Kelling for the series now. So we have a fantastic second half of the season.
So Robin Knudsen making his way down the pit lane. You've seen other drivers getting ready, including the Swedish driver Mikael Karlsson, who will take over the leading car. We also saw Will Aspin, W. Aspin, or Waspin, as he became known when he drove for Stuart Parker's Porsche team. W. Aspin, make Waspin out of it. And he certainly stung yesterday with that contact at the first corner. 68, driver change, so out gets Harry Burgoyne, in gets Zach Meakin. There is number 90 for Leo Caravasoli to give way to Sam Harrison, the former historic Formula Ford and Formula 3, Formula 4 2000 racer. And of course, all of these stops happening, okay, so they're not going to lose as much time as it would have been later on under a green flag pit stop. They want to do these stops now rather than stay out to make sure you don't waste any time. And it also means that the gaps, such as they are, will be negligible once we go green again. So actually, everybody being able to exploit the safety car to do the pit stops.
Yes, it's almost like, well-ordered, safety car at that time, and they're very close to the window for the pit lane opening. And so there should be some really good racing once we get going again.
So at the end of this next lap, we will start to see an order that is at the moment, Sam Neser in the lead, staying out, which may prove to be the wrong call. But into second place, I would offer you, is going to be Klaus Halsig. In third place is Ryan James. What this is meaning is that the AMs are going to be ahead of the pros because they pitted that lap earlier and they benefited through the slower lap that the pros had to serve while the others were in the pit lane. So here they come. This is your original race leading pack, which is now behind the other half of the grid. It's going to be a really interesting second part of the race.
What a great prospect for the second part of the race. Absolutely. It's almost as if we actually planned that.
Absolutely.
We did. I can assure you. It's great that that's happening. And incidentally, half of the field, half of these drivers have never raced here at Spa, including your current leader, Sam Neser.
It's quite a thought, isn't it? Especially given how well he went yesterday with Josh Mason, who has raced here before in single-seaters. But Sam Neser and Josh Mason, the winners yesterday. Not a bad debut then for Sam Neser. As we were saying yesterday, winner of Junior Saloon Car titles. He's raced in club-level GT racing in the UK. And the field accelerating back on track. We understand there may have been an unsafe release for one team, but that possibly will be being reviewed already. The safety car is going to be in this time. Well, there are some stragglers, aren't there? So the pros are really going to have to work hard. Klaus Halsig ahead of Ryan James, and Sam Neser's car with Josh Mason at the wheel of it has ground to a halt. Now, this is going to be a real quandary for Trevor Williams, the race director, because he's already said the safety car will come in. What he really wants is to give Josh Mason 30 seconds or so to get going. The lights are out on top of the safety car, but does he say, no, we're going to keep it out there? The lights are still flashing around the circuit. Here are the cars trying to play catch-up. So there is Klaus Halsig, who is now going to find himself as the race leader. In fact, it wasn't Josh Mason at the wheel, was it? Sam Neser never got to the pit lane. So Sam Neser behind the wheel didn't pit. So the safety car is now back in. We've gone green, and this is the lead car then as they come across the line. It is Klaus Halsig ahead of Ryan James. In third place now, it is number 80 Ron Trenker's car ahead of Fiona James in fourth place. And then in fifth, it is Eric Behrens, and sixth is Nick Halstead, with the other battle pack of the quicker pro drivers a long, long way back. And we have lost, that's the other key part of all of this, we've lost Sam Neser, the car stranded coming out of the Cours Paul Frere.
Was that just on the background, Sam Neser, back on track, the green car? Or did I see a different car there? But I thought I saw a green car coming down the hill towards Eau Rouge.
Yeah, I think you're right, because he did get through the last sector, but about 30 seconds after everybody else. So he's moving again in the background. Yes, he has got going. Now the danger is that he's outside the pit window. So this is the second pack. Look, they've got a huge amount of work to do, and they can't overtake yet because they've not got to the timing line. So here you've got Jaden Kelly ahead of Robin Knutson, ahead of 68, which is now Zach Meakin, ahead of number 12 of Will Aspin. And now they can push, but you've got two very, very distinct waves here, the way that safety car period panned out, with the AMs ahead of the pros, and by about half a lap.
Yes, that's really confused things along. Yeah, so Halsig leading the race. Now that's a great story there for car number 69. Yeah.
But this is a Ryan James, Ollie Webb race to win, surely, because we know that Ryan James is quick, and they're only 1.6 seconds back. So that's potentially where you put your money. In fact, 1.3 seconds back now. There it is, gap coming down and down and down, with all due deference to Klaus Halsig, taking over that car from Bradley Ellis. He isn't as quick normally as Ryan James. So Ryan here, on target, I would offer you for the race win. Place change there, you can see. That is Mikael Karlsson losing out to Zach Meakin. So the car that was leading in stint one has certainly fallen back on the pit stops. Jaden Kelly coming towards us, number 17. So he is at the head of this little wave right now. Big dive by Will Aspin up the inside at Bruxelles. Get through, gets the job done. Forces Mikael Karlsson out a little bit wide. Hard racing, but Will Aspin gains position. The Florence-born Brit. Here's your lead battle, and it's a three-way fight now because Eric Behrens is joining in as well as a sideways Ryan James boots it coming out of the chicane. We've got 22 3/4 minutes to go. So it is Klaus Halsig in the orange car, Ryan James in the red, in the black colours Eric Behrens, and he now makes the dive up the inside for second place. So Behrens now becomes the man to watch. Ryan James not being able to exploit his pace to get onto the back of Klaus Halsig. That'll frustrate Ollie Webb a little bit. In fourth place now it is Fiona James, having taken over from Maurice Henry, and in fifth place is Nick Halstead, having taken over from Tom Holland. Then, if you like, in the second group, we still have to have Sam Neser into the pits to give way to Josh Mason. So he's in a phony lead in the pro category. And for the outright lead, Eric Behrens is about to make the move on the inside, heading up towards Les Combes. He will brake as late as he can. Job done. Behrens takes over the lead.
Great pace there by Eric Behrens. I was talking to him earlier. He's very confident with that car. Both him and Lucas Sundal really like the setup of the Alfab car, and really reveling now at leading the race. Fantastic pace by both these drivers.
Interesting as well that they've still got push to pass to use, and they're using it on that rather tricky descent into Bruxelles. You come over the brow, you can barely see the corner. It's braking downhill, but they're still using the extra power even on that short part of the racetrack. So Behrens, having hit the front, look, he's disappearing up the road, and Klaus Halsig is the one that is on borrowed time now. However, number 68, Zach Meakin, Harry Burgoyne, 20-second penalty for a short pit stop. So a drama again for the SMC team as Halsig is under attack from Ryan James in the red car. In fourth place behind is the unrelated Fiona James, under attack from Nick Halstead, and then Sam Neser in sixth in the Greystone car. Sam Neser still chipping away, trying desperately to get back onto terms after the car was stranded out trackside. And he's had a problem again, look, in the background. Neser slow coming out of pith path.
Clearly a problem there. I mean, it looks electrical in the sense that it's obviously cutting off, or very intermittently, and what a shame. I mean, what a great performance by this crew and the drivers, the team. Yeah, very hard to take that.
And Josh Mason sits and stares, and I think he's going to be given the message pretty soon that the car is done. Josh making his Spa 24-hour debut later on today, but it looks as though in terms of McLaren duties, the day is done. Now look at this, second, third, fourth, fifth, all bunching up. A move on the inside by Nick Halstead there to try to get ahead of Fiona James, and the pass is successfully executed coming down towards the chicane. And still with 20 minutes to go, the real question is whether or not that second group, Jaden Kelly ahead of the penalised Zach Meakin, and then number 12 of Will Aspin, can make much progress. But they're just too far back, aren't they?
That's right, but that car of Neser stop could bring another safety car, and then they'll bunch things up a bit. That could promote Romero and others up ahead. So, yeah, this could still change.
It could. So through Eau Rouge they climb. Eric Barron's race leader, already 6 seconds to the good. There is Jaden Kelly, who didn't do very much driving yesterday. Don't forget that car had that big spin earlier on, but he's now into the lead of the pro class, as now Nick Halstead comes up to have a go at Ryan James. Nick Halstead certainly very competitive in these cars, in his class, but Ryan James trying to brave it out on the inside line. Halstead around the outside, nice move. And there's another one in the offing as well, isn't there? They get past Klaus Halsig in the British Touring Car Championship. Nick rather struggles, gets roughed up a little bit, and isn't one of the front runners, but in this category he really has found his niche. He's been a winner in British GT McLarens here in the past. He's about to go second on the inside down towards Bruxelles, so this is a good stint for Nick Halstead. He was fourth at the start of the lap, and he's second right now, and pulling away as you've got Halsig, James and Albert Jochems in now third, fourth, fifth and sixth. The car is back, but this could be a very long stop. Indeed, it could be a terminal stop.
Yeah, big shame there for car 43, but good to see the M's battling out at the front and showing that they can do some good racing as well, hard racing but fair. And Halsig doing a great job, just playing defensive, but couldn't really stop everyone. Who do we have here?
That's Tim Docker losing a place to Bill Fenech, going up into Les Combes. So that's now for the lead in AM, isn't it? 33, Bill Fenech going ahead. He's another of our Spa rookies, getting past Tim Docker. And in fact, Jens Richter has also gone by up then into second in the class. So Klaus Halsig, again, under attack from Ryan James. Fiona James enjoying this battle as well in the yellow and white Speedworks Race Lab car. Behind is 42, which is the Neiman Autosport entry of Albert Jochems. So the Apex car there, Ryan James. I'm surprised, actually, he's not been able to clear Halsig, because Ryan James is good, but others have sort of breezed up and passed and pulled away, and he's still stuck. Nick Halstead was able to get through the traffic, and there he is, chasing after Eric Behrens. Now, let's see what the gap is at the end of this next lap. Halstead clearly goes well around Spa. As I say, he was a winner here with Jamie Stanley in British GT back in 22. Over the timing line they go, and it's 9.7 seconds. The last lap of Halstead was slower, but he did have traffic to overtake. How about this, though? 4 of them for third place, and finally, Ryan James has got himself up past Klaus Halsig. So he's done the job. Fiona James 5th, Albert Jochems 6th, or kind of 5th and a half, really, because he's almost level with Fiona coming out of La Source, and Fiona James bravely hangs on in there. Fiona James ahead. Albert Jochems has to slot back in at Eau Rouge.
Great to see that Fiona James there holding place and in the top 5. Well deserved there for that crew of Fiona and Maurice Henry. Yeah, just chasing Halsig now ahead.
That's right, as the cars again power on up the hill, heading towards the Les Combes sequence. On the push to pass, Fiona James makes the move against Klaus Halsig on the inside, breaks late. Through she goes. Fiona James gains ground. This, unquestionably, the best result we've seen out of Fiona, not just this year, but possibly ever in McLaren Trophy. She always seems to end up with bad luck, either of other people or co-driver or both. And right now, having a great race.
And she absolutely loves Spa. She said Spa and Zandvoort, 2 of her favourite circuits, so great to see her performing so well into 4th place. So a fantastic performance. And
with the Valero Racewear brand that she runs, lots of drivers across different branches of the sport represent that. She arrived for a driver day a few years back at Swaffham Raceway, had a go in Nick Root's Superstocks, another of the Valero ambassadors, and it was a rare chance for all of them from different categories to get together, and with a couple of Superstocks cars available, imagine trying to keep Fiona out of one for a few laps. She absolutely jumped at the chance. Now, pitting outside the window is the Sam Neser Josh Mason car. It has, I think, rejoined, because Josh Mason is now being shown behind the wheel. So there's a 40-second time penalty there for stopping outside the window. But in real terms, it's pretty much out of the race anyway, isn't it? So far back now.
Yeah, and Eric Behrens there had a very slow lap there. On the last lap, 2 minutes 30.0, I'm not sure. Well, mind you, the pace is a little bit slow on this particular lap.
Yeah, the same true. Nick Halstead's a 232 operator. So, yeah, these are the slower driver in those Pro-Am cars, aren't they? The pros have done. It's the Ams now driving them. As you see here, the battle is on between 42 of Albert Jochems as he gets onto the back of Klaus Halsig. And, in fact, as people have wriggled past Klaus, so that big battle pack has gradually now spaced itself out. So there's only Jochems in for Zaltzman, who is going to be able to have a go with 15 minutes still to run. In contrast, of course, Jaden Kelly is storming along. He's lapping in the 2:24 bracket, so about 6, nearly 7 seconds a lap quicker than the race leaders, but he's just got so much real estate to make up.
It's too far back, isn't it? It's a massive gap, and what, about 14 minutes to go to race end. But yeah, he's clearly on a different kind of pace to the guys in front.
Does show how safety cars can trick races. Here, Albert Jochems up alongside Klaus Halsig, but Albert Jochems doesn't force the issue. We saw that with Fiona James earlier on, and it's almost as though he thinks, no, I'm not comfortable getting the move done at Eau Rouge, so he backs out of it, and then challenges here coming up Radion, where he's a bit more confident maybe. Albert Jochems using the push to pass, but that's countered by Klaus Halsig doing exactly the same thing. This is for 5th place, this battle, and Jochems close. But is he going to be able to make a dive? Coming up to Les Camps, Fiona James turns through the shot. Jochems pulls out, has a look, but he wasn't really on for a move there.
No, and very wise there from Halsig, pushing the button at the right time through Eau Rouge. Just had enough straight line speed there to keep Jochen behind. So again, once again, Halsig under a lot of pressure, but he really does race well under pressure.
He comes then down, Klaus Halsig, into Bruxelles. Albert Jochems, who might be a bit race rusty in fairness, because it's the first weekend we've seen him and Charles Zaltzman in the championship. Halsig goes wide though, and that gives Jochen the chance to challenge coming out of Bruxelles. He's on the outside for Speaker's Corner and gets the job done nicely. That was courageous around the outside there.
Yeah, especially for a guy, as you said, only just back now for his first race this year. Hasn't raced since Barcelona last year, trophy. So yeah, he's not rusty, is he? He's doing a great job.
Absolutely right, and getting quicker and quicker the more mileage he has. Next target there is Fiona James up the road. Fiona in 4th. So race order is Eric Behrens. As you see again, Josh Mason's car has ground to a halt. I think at some point the race director is going to say to the team, like, enough's enough. It clearly isn't happy, and if they have to keep interrupting the race or have to be on standby to interrupt the race, then it's just not a great feeling. So, all right, you've had a couple of goes at this, but clearly the car has a problem. In fairness to Josh Mason, he's got it well out of the way, but that's a car that really is out of the race.
I think, frankly, as a team manager, I would be thinking also about pulling the car out, because if he does that too many times, the safety car will come out, which will then bring Jaden Kelly into play. And then that car will then get good points ahead. So I'd be thinking more about the championship at the moment and not stopping the race through a safety car.
Fair point, absolutely. So that's the lead car, Eric Behrens in the Alfab entry. So he is the leader outright, the leader from Pro-Am. That in 2nd place is Nick Halstead, who is falling back. It's 11.4 seconds now. So the margin is widening between the top two. In 3rd place, it is Ryan James, the American driver, in the red Apex car that he shares with Ollie Webb. You'll see it in the background going under the CrowdStrike gantry there, coming down towards Eau Rouge. There is Ryan James. We did propose early on that he might be on target to win this, but Eric Behrens has done a good job of getting into the lead, and Nick Halstead likewise into 2nd place. So Ryan James in 3rd, and it's Fiona James, no relation, in 4th place, the British driver. There is the gap, 2nd to 3rd, heading up to Les Camps. In 5th, it's Albert Jochems. There's Fiona James in the background. You can see the gap over Jochems, who comes into view now, and in turn, you can see how he has managed to escape from Klaus Halsig in under a lap's worth of time. 11.5 minutes are on the clock, and Sam Neser's car, Josh Mason at the wheel of it, no longer circulating. It is still shown as being stopped. Right, here's the cavalry charge then. The pro drivers are getting closer, closer, closer. Jaden Kelly leading his class, so even if he can't win the race outright, he'll still take the points in the championship, which is useful. So whatever happens, he's got to stay ahead of that battle pack behind. Behind him is 68 Zach Meakin. That's got a penalty, hasn't it, for a short pit stop. And then you've got number 12, Will Aspin. And then it's number 40 of Mikael Karlsson in terms of the class position. So Jaden Kelly in the pound seat, he's leading, and the car behind him has got a penalty. Yes,
but in terms of pace, Jay Kelly's not pulling away from Zach Meakin at all, or even Will Aspin. They're all pretty much lapping in the same sort of bracket there. And so a little bit surprised that Jaden Kelly's not making more of a forward progress towards Halsig there. But yeah, the gap is just too big. A safety car would have been really the thing to do.
There is the confirmation that Zach Meakin gets that time penalty. So it's 20 seconds to be added on. So even though he's second in the class on the road, it's a phony second, because 20 seconds will really drop him down the field. And running wide there, putting 2 wheels into the dirt, aren't going to help Zach Meakin either. He desperately does not want a safety car, because if everyone bunches up, 20 seconds will have a more pronounced effect. So there is Jaden Kelly now getting up with Klaus Halsig. So that's a genuine overtake. That's for 6th place overall. So he is working his way back into the mix, but the leading car of Eric Berens is on its way up Radion, as very, very wide there off the racetrack goes Zach Meakin. It puts him around the outside of the back marker, but it also incurs a track limits infringement. Jaden Kelly then pushing on.
Yeah, Meakin really needs to watch on those track limits, because he's already on a black-white warning for that. So very soon he could be incurring a penalty on that.
Talking about Jaden Kelly and how he's not necessarily gone storming away from the pack, I just wonder whether there's any residual damage in that car from the accident of yesterday. I know that the Greystone team is one of the best in the paddock, and they'll have done a good job overnight, but you don't get a chance to really run the car particularly. Yesterday they had to almost bolt it together to get it out for qualifying.
100%. I was thinking the same as well, and they missed out on the second qualifying session because of the damage.
Yeah.
So they are down on track time against the others.
So we're still green, even though that car had ground to a halt trackside. The race has stayed green, and it is Eric Berens in the lead by 11 seconds from Nick Halstead. This is Jaden Kelly. Now, he is 34 seconds behind Eric Berens. He's not going to catch him, even though he's round about 7 seconds a lap faster right now. But there in the background, Zach Meakin very, very wide. He's certainly pushing, but a little error there, just costing him more time, and that brings closer to the back of him Will Aspin in the sister car.
Yes, that could have been a costly mistake there. He got away with that one. We're looking at roughly 3-lap window there until the end of the race. So he needs to bring it home and score some points.
Does indeed, as Jaden Kelly drops downhill. So Kelly is catching Jochems now for 5th place overall. Jaden Kelly, the Australian driver who was a winner here last year, he comes out of Pouin. Behind him, and again, way, way wide off the road is Zach Meakin, 68, looking as though it's got a problem, because it just can't seemingly stay on the road. And also with a problem now is Mikael Karlsson in the car that Robin Knutson led the race with early on. He's got a 10-second penalty for track limit abuses. So more and more penalties are going to mean that the order over the line, especially in the pro element, is radically different from what we have at the end of the race. There goes Jaden Kelly, Albert Jochems ahead, and then Fiona James, his co-driver of last year. So certainly 2 places could be gained by Jaden Kelly in the remaining 7.5 minutes. Anything over and above that is going to be tough.
Yeah, I think that's very doable there from Jaden Kelly's point of view. He needs to get through there, which he probably does now. And yeah, the pace between him and Fiona James is very different. So he will more than likely be successful in gaining another position. But yeah, time is running out.
So he moves through there to get ahead of Albert Jochems. Fiona James will be the next target. Just over 7 minutes of the race remain. Eric Berens still well clear by 11 seconds up the road, but with track limit and pit stop infringement penalties all being accrued by drivers, it's going to be a jumbled order at the very end of the race.
In terms of championship position, this is actually could turn out to be quite a good result for the number 17 car, even though it's not a great, it won't, more than likely will not be a podium finish. But with the number 43 car of Josh Mason and Sam Neser at the back, not in the points, and it looks like Jaden Kelly will be potentially in 4th place. That would be very good points indeed for the championship.
Indeed, so he's just got 4th away from Fiona James. Albert Jochems losing out to the penalised Zach Meakin as well. So Jaden Kelly 4th. Can he get himself onto the podium? He needs to gain another 9 seconds or so to get up with Ryan James. He's got 6 minutes to go. Ryan James last lap was a 2:32. Jaden Kelly a 2:25. Yeah, that's on. So Jaden Kelly for the podium. Yes, this is Ryan James coming downhill. Now he is 4th in class. Doesn't really matter to him if Jaden Kelly gets through, because he'll still take the points for 4th in class. They're in different classes. But Jaden Kelly wants to prove how good he is, how quick he is. Fiona James in danger of losing a place or two to Zach Meakin, although she'll gain that back with his penalty. And then a further one to Will Aspin.
Yeah, well, what looked to be a potential runaway championship with the number 17 car, now it is not. Sam Nasson and Josh Mason, as it stands currently, they're only 1 point behind the championship leaders. So every little point that Jaden Kelly can get today will have a bearing. And once again, is that Meekin again out wide onto the gravel there?
Number 12, you can see that's Will Aspin, also ahead of Fiona James now, yeah. But Zach Meekin's car has been quite ragged. It's weird, the SMC cars this year have not really clicked, have they? The leader comes across the line, that's Eric Behrens. But from winning the championship for the last 2 years, they've had mechanical dramas. They've not seemingly had the pace of some of the other cars. It's been a really odd season for Emilio De Villota Jr.'s team.
It has been, unfortunately, but you know, not all of it they're making at all. They're still a fantastic team, current champions, and they'll gather themselves and come back to the Nürburgring fighting, I'm sure. But yeah, it's not been an easy weekend for them.
This is Sam Harrison now having a go to get past Fiona James, who accelerates over the line. So Fiona dropping back a little bit now because of all these other quick drivers catching up. It's a bit like a handicap race in a sense. You put the quick ones at the back and they storm on. But actually Fiona James does hang on to the place all the way down to La Source. Good racing that, but coming out the other side on the push to pass, Sam Harrison goes by, led yesterday's stint, so you know he's quick. And Fiona James there has to tuck in behind as the cars drop down towards the left-right flick of Eau Rouge, then climb up Raidillon. There is Ryan James being reeled in by Jaden Kelly, heading up now with 4 more minutes on the clock towards Les Combes. One rather fears that the Kelly O'Brien car is running out of push to pass now, so Jaden's got to do this purely with a heavy right foot.
Yes, but as you said earlier, I think the podium definitely is on just the difference in pace there between those two cars will make it that it might be on the last lap, but Jaden is on a very good chance there for a podium.
He's going to win the class. He wants an outright podium as well as the cars come out of Bruxelles. They're now down to the left-hander of Speaker's Corner, a place that catches out many, especially during 24 hours when the amount of traffic is so busy. And there into Pouhon comes Ryan James then. So the American driver turns through that long, fast left and accelerates now from Pouhon along to Piff Paff. And Ryan James is still trying to get onto terms with Nick Halstead, and in fact was fractionally faster last time, maybe being spurred on by having Jaden Kelly arriving in his mirrors. But Eric Behrens is just away and gone up front with nearly 12 seconds worth of an advantage. And the lead car is coming up out of the Cours Paul Frere. A lap at the minute is 2.5 minutes, so is he going to squeeze 2 more out of the race, I wonder, or only 1? Eric Behrens heading towards Blanchimont. There, look, the gap between 3rd and 4th, Ryan James in the red car. And behind him, Jaden Kelly. It's coming down and down and down as they accelerate. Now, up through the long left of Blanchimont. The race leader, in the meantime, is coming into the chicane. We've got 2 minutes and 40 on the clock. And Jaden Kelly, ahead of Ryan James, then now makes that move stick up into the top 3. Right, the leader has just gone across the line, and it's going to be tight. His last lap was a 2:32. I think we're going to be on the last lap. He'd done 47 minutes and 28 seconds of a 50-minute race.
Yeah, I looked at the clock as he went through there, Behrens, and he said 2:31. So this could be the last lap, and if he knows about where the clock is, he should maybe he can afford to back off just a little bit if he wants to make this his last lap, and I certainly would be doing that. But
Nick Halstead losing a place. Jaden Kelly now is in 2nd place, so he's 13 seconds back from the leader. He's not going to do that in a lap. Even in 2, it's asking a bit much, but that's been quite an effort, hasn't it, by Jaden Kelly to come storming up through the field. So there he is in 2nd place, and under normal circumstances, it would be a Pro Cup car that is the leader, the winner. But Eric Behrens, along with Lucas Sundal, having pitted at the right time under the safety car, is very definitely in charge. Through they come for the last time, but a great drive by Eric Behrens and by Lucas Sundal to get the car in the mix in the first stint.
fantastic performance by these two. Ever since they paired up together, they've been going just stronger and stronger. They both love the car, the setup, and yeah, both of them performing incredibly well. Great job there by the Alfa team and Eric Behrens and Lucas Sundal. Great, again, a great result for them. Only a few corners to go.
And a car with a problem here, look, crawling downhill. Now, who is that going slowly? It is Klaus Halsig, maybe. It's got a puncture, has it? Look at the left front. It's either a loose wheel or a flat tyre. And the field comes streaming past, but it's a slow car, and it's the left front corner where the concern is. So we'll try and pick up on that as it comes out the other side. There it is, look, crawling on. The driver getting the car as far as he can off the racetrack, out of the way. And it is Bill Fenech, isn't it, the leading AM. So that means he's lost the lead of AM to Jens Richter. And he's trying to nurse the car back to the pit lane, but there's a problem for Bill Fenech. Really cruel luck on the last lap of the race. No problem, though, for this man. Eric Behrens is going to come through that left-hander out of Blanchimont up towards the chicane, and a race win is going to be his if he backs it off. 14 seconds on the clock. He comes up towards the line now into the chicane. Clock ticks on down. Yeah, the flag, I think, is going to greet him with 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds. He's timed it right. Up to the line. There's the flag. Eric Behrens wins race 2 of McLaren Trophy Europe. He takes the checkered flag to win from an inspired Jaden Kelly, who comes through for second place. And third is going to go on the road to Zach Meakin, but he's got a penalty, so Will Aspin will inherit third place. And look at this, Nick Halstead just coming over the line, 6th ahead of Sam Harrison. Well, that kept us busy.
Very much so. What a great race. All the pit stops and the AMs ahead of the pros made it for a very entertaining race. And congratulations to Eric Behrens and Alfab team. Very well-deserved win there. And not surprisingly, the little bird tells me that the driver of the weekend is Eric Behrens, chosen by McLaren organisers, and also the team of the weekend, of course, Alfab.
I think that's a very good choice. So Bill Fenech has limped across the line, but he's down to third in class, having been leading it. So he's nursed the car home, but very, very frustrated as up towards the line comes Klaus Helsing to go through, finishing in 12th place. So the timing screen is going to update itself in a moment with the various penalties to be applied, some for track limits, some for speeding. In fact, there was another one late race. Nick Halstead got a 5-second penalty for track limit abuses. So he lost places on the track anyway, but that's going to drop him a little bit further down the order. So it is a win for Eric Behrens and Lucas Sundal. Second and a class win for Jaden Kelly and Michael O'Brien. Third, second in Pro, Will Aspin, Alejandro Gapet. Fourth, second in Pro-Am, Ryan James, Ollie Webb. Fifth, third in Pro, Sam Harrison, Leo Caravasili. Sixth, third in Pro-Am, Nick Halstead and Tom Holland. And then a bit further back, 10th, Jens Richter, Kevin Rawshide winning in Am from Tim Docker. And then Bill Fenech and Chris Hall coming through for third place.
Yeah, it's hard luck that for Bill Fenech at the end. There was that problem with the car. Couldn't really see the tyre flat, but it did look like it was wobbling a little bit. And but at least they made it the podium in their class, which is a bit of consolation there for what is the first race for Bill Fenech there in the McLaren Trophy.
Really bad weekend, sadly, for Danny Henry, 2 retirements, so that's going to affect him in the championship. That big spin coming out of the cord, Paul Frere putting him into the gravel being today's demise. But Eric Behrens then, after an excellent job, making his way now back around to the Parc Fermé area, and he'll be a happy man, no question about it. Comes up towards pit in, ever so slowly.
Very distinctive livery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost reminds me of the JPS, the John Player Special Formula 1 livery. Yeah, just beautiful car.
Just the wrong brand, isn't it? I mean, it's, how can you have that livery on a McLaren? They had a different tobacco sponsor altogether, didn't they? But yes, you're quite right. And he's carried those colours on different race cars over the years, the black and gold of Alfab. So Eric Behrens comes down the pit lane, and the Union flag on the roof as well, just to sort of illustrate that it's a British brand these days. So there is Eric Behrens being told to stop. I want everybody in the right lane. You want one lane of top 3 for Pro-Am and Am, not just randomly parked. Jaden Kelly going off the track there to get the pickup on the tyres to help with the weight, to help with the ride height of the car. So a driver's work is not done just because you've taken the checkered flag.
That's it. And yeah, he's young but very experienced guy. He knows what to do even at the end of the race. So he knows he's allowed track limits now.
That's right, yes. Make up for having to behave yourself for so long. Now you can let yourself go a little bit. Good drive, though, that by Jaden Kelly. He does excel around here. And, of course, not only was it a class win, but he was just... Think about this for a moment. The gap in the end was 5.7 seconds. Well, how much time did Michael O'Brien lose in the spin, courtesy of Maurice Henry? That, I would say, was more than 5.7 seconds.
100%.
So they should have had the win.
Correct. Yep.
Such is motor racing.
There you go. Very, very strong points for them, and the number 43 car not finishing, very good for the championship.
Yeah. And after yesterday's travails, it's brought them back in. It's a sort of get-out-of-jail-free card for the pair of them. There's Erik Berends in the crouch helmet. Lucas Sundahl goes to say, well done. Good stint that by Erik, because he didn't inherit the lead. He had to get the car into the lead and then build a gap.
Yeah, he's been performing incredibly ever since he joined the championship last year. You know, very impressive for an AM, you know, the way he drives, and now partner with Lucas Sundahl seems to really be working well for them.
So crash helmet off, and Lucas Sundahl, the younger of the two. Erik Berends saying thank you to the team, and it's been really good to see not only some good racing this weekend, but good numbers on track as well. A quick word about poor old Rafa Martinez, who had entered the races this weekend, but the car was damaged in practice on Thursday, and therefore couldn't race. So it would have been 18. Even so, 17 has been a good number, and hopefully the momentum is gathering now. People look at this and think, yeah, I want to go and race in that. There's Ollie Webb, who is a happy man with second in class, and the Cheshire driver goes to congratulate Ryan James. Thumbs up. So there is Ryan James making his way from the car, and a good drive by the American. Sunny's on, which you don't always need at Spa. Goes to find Ollie Webb. But Jaden Kelly and Michael O'Brien triumphing in the pro category. Great drive by both of them in tough circumstances. There with Alex.
Boys, what an incredible race, and we're better to do it. Jaden, congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's been a crazy weekend, really. You know, we missed out on quali yesterday because of an accident in race 1. And the guys have worked so hard to get this car back out. It was definitely a hard-fought race, and they didn't make it easy for us, but I'm happy. I'm so happy that we could have done it, and especially of all places in Spa.
Yeah, congratulations. So deserved. Michael, that opening stint.
Yeah, it was interesting, to say the least. I got a good start. I think I got past 3 or 4 by the time we got up Eau Rouge, and progress was going well. And then maybe I won't comment on the rest, but some questionable driving standards. And then we were backwards. Then I thought that was race over. Safety car came back out. So I was like, okay, maybe there's a chance. And then this guy did a great job, as always, to you know, do the stint and do what he needed to do. And here we are. So can't quite believe it.
Well done, boys. Nailing it.
So Jaden Kelly and Michael O'Brien coming out on top in pro, and oh so nearly outright second place in the end. And as we were just musing on, the time lost in the spin probably equates to the gap at the end, if not more. But it's an outright win for Lucas Sundahl and Erik Berends in the Alfab car. Alex has gone to find them, and they'll no doubt be delighted.
Erik, my word, what a lap, what a race. You're now proving why you're 2024 champion. That was insane.
Yeah, crazy. It was fantastic. You know, last year, pole and then second total. But this year, I really needed a super Swede, Lucas, coming here. And hey, we are like Vikings today.
Opening stint. I mean, it was chaos out there. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was so fun. And when you're having such an amazing car, it's just so fun to drive, just easy to drive, and then you can save tires and everything to Erik, and then, of course, his last stint was so amazing.
Drivers of the day. Well done, boys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
He was very happy with that accolade as well. But just the perfect job. And actually, that's another team that's had its problems this year. You know, we saw the car retiring at Monza, didn't we? Stranded trackside. So they've got over those little frustrations of reliability, and everything has gelled this weekend for Erik Berends and for new co-driver Lucas Sundahl. And then you have Jens Richter and Kevin Rohrscheid as the winners of the AM class with Alex.
Boys, you guys are doing it in style. You're looking a little relieved and a little hot.
Yeah, it was quite warm, so we had to switch off air condition to have an additional boost a little bit, kind of, and yeah. I mean, it's great that we had the sun today and not that rain, so we felt some G-forces and heard some tires actually a little bit squeaky, but yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, congratulations. Turning out Spa is not too bad a place for you.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic racetracks, and we enjoyed very much. I think it's also one of my personal favorites in the calendar, so yeah, a highlight of the season.
Good job, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So smiles all round from the AM drivers. Jens Richter on the left as you look, Kevin Rorsheid with the darker hair, who did that first stint. Jens Richter, an experienced driver from, not McLaren Trophy necessarily, but from things like the VLN or Creventic races and the Nürburgring 24 hours as well. Right, Eric Behrens, Lucas Sundal, race winners, and also winning Pro-Am ahead of the Pro winners, Jaden Kelly and Michael O'Brien, Will Aspin and Alejandro Gapet, third and second of the Pros. Ryan James and Ollie Webb, fourth out of Pro-Am ahead of Sam Harrison and Leo Caravasili. Then sixth, Nick Halstead and Tom Holland ahead of Zach Meakin and Harry Burgoyne. Fiona James, eighth with the help of Maurice Henry, although he might get looked at for his dramas with Michael O'Brien earlier. A good return, 9th, Albert Jochems and Charles Voltzmann, and the class-winning 10th, Jens Richter and Kevin Rorsheid. So we lost a couple of cars, but some really good racing and certainly a fascinating race with that safety car period that we had as well here at Spa. Race 2 for McLaren Trophy Europe began with a good start by Sam Neser to try to get the car into the lead. And as he dived into La Source, it was the winner of race 1, Sam Neser, that was commanding the pace as the field swooped through Eau Rouge for the first time and made the climb uphill, with Robin Knudsen running in second. There's a bit of hit and shoulder that eventually forced the car of Alejandro Gapet off the road. And John Lancaster was the bravest of the brave on the grass, and that was to the consternation of Rob Bell. Michael O'Brien was on the grass as well, Maurice Henry not giving him much room. And as O'Brien spun across the road, he lost time, was able to rejoin, and ultimately that spin cost the team a win. Second place would be the reward, as for the race lead, Robin Knudsen went around the outside of Sam Neser up at Les Combes with a really good pass. Maurice Henry then got himself tapped into a spin. Bradley Ellis arriving unannounced into the back coming out of Les Combes, but both cars continued, unlike Danny Henry, who ran wide coming out of the Coupe, Paul Frere, and got stuck in the gravel. Pit stop cycled through under the safety car to remove Danny Henry's car, and it meant that as the race went back live, Eric Behrens fought his way through into the lead of the race, a lead he was never to lose. Nick Halstead got himself up past Klaus Halsig. There was a great battle going on amongst the AMs in the Pro-Am cars as they turned through Bruxelles, with Fiona James in the mix as well. And Bill Fenech worked his way past Tim Docker for the lead of the AM category, only to have problems a lap from home with what looked like a puncture, and he faded as Jaden Kelly swooped past Ryan James. Ultimately, second overall would be his reward once he got past Nick Halstead as well. 5.7 seconds adrift at the flag was Jaden Kelly, and but for that spin coming into Bruxelles, it could have been a different story. But the story of the day was an outright win in McLaren Trophy Europe for Lucas Sundal and Eric Behrens here at Spa-Francorchamps.